Top 5 Book of Mormon Villain Deaths. Number 5. King Amalickiah. Amalickiah was a Nephite traitor who ended up using murder and treachery to even take over the armies of the Lamanites. He even murdered the Lamanite king and married his wife to get to the throne. His death was caused in his sleep. After his army was really weary and tired, he decided it was time to take a nap. During his nap, however, Teancum, a Nephite assassin, snuck quietly past his guards and stabbed him with the javelin, instantly killing him. Not a sound was made as the guards didn't even wake up. They didn't even know he was dead. Years of treachery and betrayal all seem wasted, as he died so easily in his sleep. Number 4. King Laban. Laban was a wicked king, and he had a mighty army and power over the minds of many civilians. Nephi, however, was strong with the Lord on his side. One night, Laban got a little too drunk and passed out. The Spirit willed Nephi to take him out. Nephi was hesitant at first, but the Spirit told him that it was better that Laban be killed than every one of his followers to continue following down his dark path. Not only was King Laban killed with his own sword, but Nephi also took his clothes, pretended to be him, and deceived his servant. What a sad way for a wicked man to go out. Number 3. King Noah. King Noah was a wicked king, just like King Laban. One day, a prophet, Abinadi, comes to tell him how horrible his wickedness really is. He doesn't like this, so what does he do? He kills Abinadi. He kills him by burning him. Abinadi, however, tells King Noah that however he puts him down, the same will happen to him. Later, King Noah ends up being burned by his own people when he doesn't let them rescue their loved ones. Yet again, we see a prophecy fulfilled by a prophet of God. The agony he must have faced when he realized that Abinadi was telling the truth and that God was on his side. Number 2. Sherem. Sherem was an antichrist. He used the power of the devil to tempt other people and bring them away from the truth of the gospel. When faced with Jacob, however, Sherem ended up being struck down and nourished by God. After many days, he was allowed to speak once more, but only to give one last speech. This was God allowing him to confess his sins and to confess that Jesus is the Christ. And once he gave this speech, it says in the scriptures that he gave up the ghost. I can only imagine his spirit left his vessel and a lifeless body was left behind. Imagine the torment and torture he felt as he knew what he was doing was wrong, and he knew the consequences that lay in store for him. Number 1. Korihor. Korihor, like Sherem, was also an antichrist. He preached false things to the people and tried to lead them away into darkness and despair. One day the prophet Alma comes along. He catches Korihor in the act, and Korihor asks for a sign. Korihor is then struck dumb, and he writes down on a piece of paper that he knows that he was tempted by Satan, and he knows that what he has been telling the people is wrong. He then asks Alma for mercy and asks if he can ask God to give him his voice back. Both God and Alma know that Korihor is only going to continue leading people away for gain and profit. Korihor was not given a second chance that day, and instead, he could no longer speak and had to beg for food. Eventually, he is trampled to death. Imagine the torture he must have felt, begging for food without a voice, knowing of his crimes, and possibly knowing the fate that would eventually come to him. There are many villains in the Book of Mormon. Although their deceptions and bad deeds may differ, one thing is always the same: their fate. We know that the wicked will never prosper, as wickedness never was happiness.